My eyes opened to a low, electric hum. It was the first thing I noticed. A sound like a giant bee was trapped somewhere nearby. My head throbbed, and for a moment I didn't know who or where I was. Then my name came back to me. Leo. I was Leo, but that was all I had. I sat up, my back scraping against a wall that felt like old, dry paper. The room was small, so small I could almost touch both walls if I stretched my arms out. And every inch of it, the walls, the ceiling, even the floor under me, was covered in newspaper clippings. They were yellowed and brittle, their edges blackened and curled, as if they'd been saved from a fire. The air smelled like burnt paper, dust, and something sharp, like ozone after a lightning strike. In front of me, two old-fashioned televisions were stacked on top of each other like weird glowing blocks. The bottom one showed nothing but static, a frantic, dancing blizzard of black and white dots. It was the source of the humming sound. The top TV was different. It would show the same angry static for a few seconds, then it would suddenly switch. The screen would go completely black, filled with tiny, distant points of light, like staring into deep space. It was a cold, silent, and terrifyingly empty view. Then, just as quickly, it would snap back to buzzing static. A single bare light bulb hung from the ceiling, but the light it gave off was all wrong. It flickered between a sickly yellow and a pale green, making the shadows in the small room jump and twist. It never settled, casting everything in a constant, nervous dance. My heart hammered against my ribs. "Hello?" I called out, my voice sounding small and hoarse. Only the buzz of the TV answered. I scrambled to my feet, patting the walls, searching for a doorknob, a handle, a seam, anything. Nothing. The newspaper was seamless, a single skin of forgotten stories plastered over whatever was underneath. I was trapped. Panic began to bubble in my chest. I had to do something. I couldn't just sit here. I focused on the newspapers, thinking maybe there was a clue. I knelt, my eyes scanning the tiny print. The headlines were strange. Mysterious fire guts local library. Astronomer claims to hear voices from stars. Family vanishes on camping trip. They were all old, from decades ago, from towns I'd never heard of. I spent what felt like hours reading, trying to find a connection. The shifting light made my eyes hurt. The constant static was starting to feel like a scream I couldn't block out. And every time the top TV switched to that silent, starry void, a chill went down my spine. It felt like something was looking back at me from that darkness. Then I saw it. Tucked away in a corner near the floor, a small clipping, more burnt than the others. The headline was short. "Local boy missing." My blood ran cold. I leaned closer, my fingers tracing the letters of the name printed below. Leo Martinez, age 12. My name is Leo. I'm 12. But my last name isn't Martinez. And the date on the article was from 15 years ago. My breath hitched. I started searching frantically, my eyes darting from one headline to the next. I found another one halfway up the wall. Teenager disappears after visiting strange art exhibit. The name was Leo Chen. And another near the ceiling. Leona Petrova vanishes without a trace. Leo, Leona. It wasn't a coincidence. This room, it collects Leos. This wasn't just a prison. It was some kind of collection, an exhibit. The tag from the newspaper article clicked in my mind. Strange art exhibit. I wasn't in a basement or a bunker. I was inside the art. I was the new piece in the collection. The top TV flickered to the cosmic void again. But this time, it wasn't just stars. For a split second, I saw a face in the darkness. Then it was gone. The room was a box, and that TV was a window. Or maybe it was the door. I looked from the buzzing static on the bottom TV to the cycling void on the top one. They had to be the key. This was an escape room, a horrible supernatural escape room, and I had to solve the puzzle before the void came for me, too. I stared at the bottom screen, trying to see past the dancing static. I tried to let my eyes go unfocused. The humming seemed to get louder, vibrating in my teeth. The shifting light above pulsed faster. Yellow, green, yellow, green. For a moment, just a moment, as the top screen switched to the void, the static on the bottom screen seemed to change. The random dots lined up, forming a shape. It was there and gone in a flash. An image of a doorknob. My heart leaped. It was a trick of the light, the static, and the timing. I had to watch for it again. I waited, my eyes glued to the screen. Static, static. The top TV switched. There! The doorknob appeared again, in the exact same spot. It wasn't on the TV screen itself. It looked like a projection, a ghost of an image, appearing on the newspaper-covered wall to my right. I knew what I had to do. I scrambled over to that spot, under the burnt paper. It was just more burnt paper. I waited, my body tense. The cycle felt slower now, stretching time like taffy. My hand hovered over the spot. The top TV screen went black. The stars twinkled. The ghostly doorknob flickered into existence on the wall. I lunged, my hand slapping against the paper where the knob should be. Nothing. Just a solid wall. My hope sank. The void on the screen seemed to deepen, and I felt a strange, gentle pull, like a tide trying to drag me from the shore. No, I whispered. I had to be faster. I had to time it perfectly. I waited for the next cycle, my muscles coiled like a spring. The static buzzed, the light flickered, the void appeared. The ghost knob flashed. I lunged. This time it didn't hit the wall. My fingers plunged into something cold and yielding, like sinking my hand into thick, wet sand. The newspaper ripped around my wrist. I grabbed onto the handle I couldn't see and pulled with all my might. A low groan echoed in the room, and a section of the wall swung inward, tearing the paper skin. A wave of cold, musty air washed over me. I had done it. I was free. I stumbled through the opening, my legs weak with relief, and fell to my knees. I looked up, expecting a hallway or stairs or the outside world, but what I saw made the air leave my lungs in a silent scream. I was in another room. It was identical to the first one.